Hey folks, Kevin here. Well, it's July 18th, 2018, and today this is another episode of Ask Me Anything. I'm actually starting to work a little bit over on the greenhouse, actually pulling the bird nests out from the where the soffits need to go up first around the work area and chicken coop. So I thought I'd take a quick break and answer a couple of questions. Now, over the years, one of the most common questions we get is, what's the reason for all the buildings here? There's just the two of you. Our kids have been long grown and they've had their own families, and their families are grown now as well. So I thought what I'd do is answer a couple of the questions. The first question is, Jason Paul had asked, what are all those black dots? He noticed in one of the videos, what are those black dots up there on the roof? So all those black dots up there on the roof, that's what he's asking about. So those black dots are a type of what are called snow breaks or ice breaks. We live in a part of the country where we get tremendous amounts of snow, very, very heavy snow loads. Actually, that's one of the jobs that people will take up during the winter months when, if they're seasonal workers, they'll either do snow blowing, snow plowing, or shoveling off roofs. Well, our roofs are fairly steep pitches so that we have less snow accumulation. So you can see the buildings behind me there, the barn. And we had metal roofs on the barns there years ago when we had horses and all. And the snow would accumulate to a certain amount, and then it would come sliding off. And the force of several feet of thick, heavy snow, wet, compressed snow, coming down, it'd wipe out the chain link, it'd damage a vehicle, and if a person or an animal was underneath it, that was very dangerous. So I determined at that time not to use a type of roof that was too slippery without taking the steps necessary to help and break up the material so it breaks up and comes down in chunks rather than full pieces. So that's what they are. They're ice breaks or snow breaks. It aids in keeping that whole big sheet along the whole roof coming down and crushing and doing damage and all. And that's necessary, or is recommended in a very, very heavy snow area. We're in snow country where we live here. And again, the other question Lisa had asked, what about all these buildings? What are they? And all. So I thought I'd start off with the building directly behind me is the first building we actually built down here. Now, we used to live up by the road there years ago, back in the 70s and the very beginning of the 80s while we did our construction. So the first building I built was basically what most people would consider a 4-car garage. We had it as a 2-car garage that seldom was used for a garage, and a workshop in the back half, the back side towards me. And that allowed me to get the tools and have a place for some materials so I could do the construction as time went on. Ultimately, we ended up building the house. My brother David's an engineer, and he was really responsible for many of the design. So this is a house. It's a post and beam construction house. It's a small house, just 24 by 40. It doesn't have a basement that has that large thermal mass, so it's passive solar. It's super energy efficient, and it's been fantastic. Now I've got to change windows and doors because they're all the original doors and windows. We started building around, I think it was 81 when we started building each building and all. And then later on we constructed a mudroom to connect the garage to the house, and that's worked out quite well as well. What other structures are there? I guess the next one is, as I've talked about in the past, we've had other activities in our lives. So this building behind us was originally a pole barn, and we raised horses. So we raised broodmares were in this building, and the top floor was a hayloft. It subsequently became an office and a workshop area, and then the large workshop area in the back there where you can see the overhead door, that's the large workshop area now. So it provided functions when we had horses, and then when we did wildlife rehabilitation, and now it's what it is. Hopefully at some point in time I'll be remodeling these structures so that we can have people come and stay and we can have workshops here and have regular continuing education programs here for the variety of things that Thea and I are both interested in. Okay, there's another small structure behind us that's basically an aviary. It's a place where we house animals that need further assistance, need more support for the rest of their lives. Again, the name of our place is Mindful Living Sanctuary, so we try to provide the optimal environment for not just people, but also for the animals that we encounter. Over here, it's not really a structure a building, but it is a structure, and it's pretty much a mess out here. This is the outdoor kitchen area. So, realizing how much food sovereignty is such an important component of our lives here, having a place that you can go into in the hot summer days, that you can work outside, have a breeze, be in the shade, and have a place where we can do all of our food processing. That's what's still under construction over here. I've got quite a ways to go with that. Okay, hopefully the wind isn't too bad. So behind me is the work area, that whole area there and part of the hall, and then over on this side is the chicken coop and where the chickens and ducks live. And this area between me and those buildings is the area where the greenhouse is going up. So this is a greenhouse that I posted several videos about starting in 2012. We won an auction on an aluminum and glass greenhouse that we decided to bid on. We won the bid. We took the building down. I became very debilitated ill and was out of the picture for the better part of a year, basically. And then I started doing some of the work and all around here, and now I'm finally coming back and getting ready to put up the greenhouse as well. So there'll be videos going over that if all things go well. Another structure that we have here we actually have two of these. This one's over by Pond 5. So this is one of our screened-in gazebos. Really nice structures. Unfortunately, we just don't spend the time in them. And as we're getting older, we realize we need to take the time and plan our lives a little bit better so that we can do these things. So I'm trying to button up things that need to be taken care of and make it so we can be as productive with a lesser amount of input, labor from our part as well. So that's part of my focus at this point. Leaning up against the gazebo over there are some of the aluminum trusses that again are going to go up and make the roof for the greenhouse that's here. And this is a whole large thermal mass unit underneath it, which is both washed stones and water totes, and I'll be talking more about that as time goes on. Okay, I'm out in the first food forest area, and this structure behind me is a honey hut, and that's a building that I put around the beehives last year. Okay, I'm standing inside of the honey hut right now. Here's the platform that all the beehives are set up on. There's only 3 beehives active in here right now. 2 were swarms that came into the hives that I had set up waiting for them, and then the second, one of those swarms that occupied a hive expanded so well that it went ahead and set off another swarm, and that occupied a 3rd hive. So that's what we've got. We've had one other swarm take off just the other day and head on out to another part of the property. So this is a honey hut. Let's go see the next structure. Okay, the structure behind me here, we call that the sugar shack. It's really several different components. It's built over a few years' time. The underground part down below is a full root cellar. So that's where we do all our seed saving, and do a significant volume of our food storage as well. On the upper part of it up here is the sugar shack, and so we live in an area of the country where we have cold winters and we have warm spring days, and that causes the sugar sap that's in the root systems to start making their way up the trunk of the tree. They're tapped, and we can collect that sugar sap maple sap, and we can boil it down and make maple syrup out of that. This building isn't done yet. I still have to put in a fireproof floor since there will be an arch in it where there's a controlled fire, wood burning fire there. That'll be one of the ways that we heat up the maple sap and make maple sugar. So we're inside of what's considered the woodshed right now, inside of the sugar shack. So going through those French doors is where the maple syrup will ultimately be made. But now we have where wood is stored. This is for our house and for the maple syrup burning as well. And then up above there's totes for sap and for reverse osmosis water as well. So that's one of the ways of concentrating the sugars, is extracting some of the water out of it, and it's pure water. It can be used for drinking water as well. So that's this structure. So it's really a wood shed, a little bit of a utility room, a sugar shack, and down below the root cellar. Okay, I'm over here by Pond 3 at this time. So that's Pond 3 behind me. Nice sitting area over in the background. And another sitting area that we constructed several years ago was the other gazebo over here, another screened in location that we can potentially sit down, recover, relax, rehabilitate ourselves, a place to be out here in nature without doing all the work that we do around here as well. So that's another one of those locations that I have to clean up, get set. Right now it has storage materials. It has the evaporator and arch that go in the sugar shack, but again I needed to get the floor done in there first, so on and so forth. But so that's all of the buildings that we have on site, and I'm pretty busy doing all the things that need to be done. Our house now is quite a few years old. I've gone ahead and done most of the remodeling in the garage. I've been gradually updating things in the house as time goes on, but each one of the buildings require maintenance and work along through the process, and there's got to be remodeling done for us to fulfill our dream of being able to have people come here and have workshops and all as well. So there's a lot to be done, and that's why I'm so busy all the time, as you can probably tell by the videos that we produce. So I hope this answers your questions about why so many buildings for you too. We have some pretty significant life goals, you know, for the second half of our lives coming up in the future, and this whole property is interwoven in our plans as well. So there's pretty good reason for having all these structures. It's just way more than what you would typically expect for two retired people to have on their property. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Be sure to ask any questions, leave any comments below, and by all means folks, have a fantastic day. Bye bye now.